Edmond Memorial 2027 linebacker Colton McComb is the latest commit to a Division One program out of the state of Oklahoma. He committed less than a week ago to Kansas State, and he joins us for this week's edition of PRZ Weekly. And Colton, let's start right there, man. Your commitment to Kansas State. What was the final thing that led you to feeling like that was the right fit for you? That you wanted to go ahead and announce your commitment to K-State. What was that last thing that kind of put the Wildcats over the edge for you?
I would say just during the practice that I went to, the energy that the team and the coaches showed was just like very calling out to me, and the way that they were more of a like actually felt like a family there rather than just a bunch of business deals like some places feel.
What's the last year been like for you? Because I mean, it was probably around this time last year that you really started to blow up with offers all over the country, especially in this region of the country, following a fantastic sophomore season. What has this last year been like for you to go from a guy maybe flying under the radar during your sophomore year to, one of the top prospects in the state's 2027 class, especially on the defensive side of the ball?
It's I mean it's been pretty busy during the season. The recruiting died down a lot, like I would say, but right after season ended, it started to pick things back up, and it's all been pretty fast since then. Like K State offered me in January, and then just committed by April now. So it's just been all pretty fast, fast
Let's
paced.
let's talk about Kansas State. You mentioned that the family dynamic, watching them at practice. Obviously they have a new head coach coming into this season. What do you like, other than the family dynamic that you mentioned earlier, what do you like about what Kansas State and what Coach Klein is building right now up in Manhattan?
I would say I love the way that um, they feel like very committed to what they are building there. Like talking to Coach Toth, all the mandatory meetings they have, all the players are showing up. Everybody's showing up, so it's just very looking forward to the commitment that it's going to take. And yeah,
It's still early April. You still have spring ball coming up. You still have the summer, and then of course your senior season coming up this fall. Why did right now feel like the right time to go ahead and announce your commitment to the Wildcats?
I would say just like right now, it's getting to that time of year where it's like the official visits and everything coming up, and I wanted for me to be committed before official visits and not take a lot of official visits. That's just for me, and also I want to be committed before senior year, so that was definitely a big part in my commitment too.
That kind of leads me to my next thought. And, I'm always interested. We had Graydon Howe from Broken Bow on a couple weeks ago talking about his commitment to OU and how he's going to handle recruitment moving forward. Because look, it's not over for you. Like some schools might back off, but not every school is going to back off on recruiting you. There's going to be plenty of other programs that try to flip you from Kansas State. Like, how do you anticipate handling being recruited now as a guy who's committed to a program like K-State?
I would say what I'm planning to do is that I'm not going to go do any more spring ball practices or like any visits to any other colleges. If there is some colleges that come by the school and everything, that they would only be able to talk to me like during workouts. I wouldn't come out of class to talk to them or anything like that.
Now, obviously, the McComb name at Edmond Memorial has been one that has dominated headlines over the last 5 years. Your older brother David, a big time quarterback prospect coming out of high school, signed with Kansas. He was recruited by major Division One programs as well during his time just a few years ago. Did he give you any advice on how to handle the recruiting process? Was he a help at all? Over the last year, like navigating, talking with college coaches and handling, the business that is, being recruited as a college football prospect.
Yes, for sure. He was definitely a big help. The main thing he told me was make sure that you check out every place because he, as we know, committed very early to KU, and he didn't like he shut down his recruitment after that. So his main thing was just make sure you're going to the right place, not because it's just close or anything like that. Just go pick the right place through.
Um, you've been starting for Edmond Memorial the last several years, and I mentioned your sophomore season. One of the top tacklers in 6A1, competing against like the top competition in the state. Playing against some of the top programs in 6A1 week in and week out. What have you learned about the game? Over the last two seasons of starting and playing against some of the top competition in the state of Oklahoma.
I learned that there's a lot more details than you might think. Like coming from freshman ball, you can just play and not have to worry about much stuff. But if you're not doing your job, like in the varsity 6A1, their teams are going to take advantage of that.
Talking with your dad a little bit earlier this off season, he mentioned that you had some nagging injuries that have kind of limited you this off season. Has there been anything else? Like obviously, like you haven't really been able to probably train the way you want in the off season or do some of the other things that you typically would do. Have you had to like kind of shift gears and train in a different way, whether it's like film study or a mental approach to the game? Like being somewhat limited physically, have you had to kind of shift your focus in your off-season training to sharpen some of the other skills?
Yes, I would say so, like watching film and everything, but I've also built more of a recovery like habit of doing things after workouts and everything too. That played a really big part in helping me not get injured again. And I have been able to lift and everything, but there's just been some stuff that I've had to like limit so I don't re-injure or make it worse than it is.
And it sounds like you're either clear now or about to be cleared, from that stuff. And so I got to think that you're going to hit the ground running, with spring ball a little over a month away. Any big plans on the off season as far as like what you want to work on from a physical standpoint, improving your game going into your senior season?
One thing I would like to work on going into my senior season is my block destruction and just my side to side movement so I can be able to get off blocks and get to the ball fast from any position I'm at on the field.
What can we expect from Edmond Memorial this fall? Because, you know, 2 years ago you guys made a run to the semifinals. Last season still really competitive, but obviously the goal is to not only, make it to the playoffs, but to go on a deep run, similar to what we saw from you guys 2 seasons ago. What can we expect from the Bulldogs this fall? Because I know you guys, you lose some players, but at the same time, you got some really talented players coming back on both sides of the ball. Give us a little insight. What can we expect from the Bulldogs this season?
I would say expect big things. We're having a lot of young guys come up and they're taking on the role of what they have to step up for this off season and they're putting in the work and everybody's getting bigger and stronger. So we're going to be looking good next year.
I know you're known as a linebacker, one of the better linebackers in the state, but we also saw you play some offense last season and the year before as well. You expecting to play more offense this fall? Or are you expecting to, be more of that two-way standout for the Bulldogs this season?
Yes, for sure. They are expecting me to play more offense this next season coming up for tight end and H back more than running back, but I also be playing some running back as well.
Doing a little bit of everything. I love it. Well, Colton, man, I know, I've been a fan of your game since that sophomore season. I still remember, that game against Norman North as a sophomore. You were all over the field that night. And at that point, I was like, that kid has it. I don't know what it is when it comes to the linebacker position, but he was all over the field making plays. So he has it. Looking forward to seeing you back on the football field and healthy for the Bulldogs this spring and into the 2026 season. And congrats again on your commitment to Kansas State. The Wildcats got a good one. Congrats again, and looking forward to catching up soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's Edmond Memorial 2027 linebacker Colton McComb, committed now to Kansas State. He's the latest commit in the state of Oklahoma's 2027 class. He joins Booker T. Washington defensive lineman Dwayne Jones as current Oklahoma prospects that are committed to the Wildcats. My thanks to him for joining us on this week's edition of PRZ Weekly. But that's not it. We will be back with another edition of PRZ Weekly coming up on Friday. We will have the new head coach of the Jones Longhorns, Jeremy Reed, joining us to talk about his very quick decision to become the next head coach of the Longhorns, how they're going to look as a defending champion from last season, moving up from 2A1 to Class 3A, and much, much more. So stay tuned to the Prep Red Zone Oklahoma YouTube channel for that conversation coming up on Friday, our one-on-one with new Jones head coach Jeremy Reed. But for Colton, I'm Michael Knight, the director of Prep Red Zone Oklahoma, and this has been another edition of PRZ Weekly right here on the Prep Red Zone Oklahoma YouTube channel.